On the workbench today, 10th scale four-wheel drive RC crawler from WLTOYS. We're going to be unboxing it, giving it an overview, first drive to see, is this vehicle worth purchasing for you? Now welcome, my name is Troy, this is Roadside RC. What you'll find me doing on this channel is crawling and bashing, drifting, racing, all those kind of things, plus product review videos and how-tos. And if you follow the channel, you'll know I've had experience with most of the RC crawlers out there. On my wall hanging up right now is an Axial SCX10 3, TRX4, a SCX10 2, and even an Element Ecto. So I've been around the RC crawlers for a while. What I'm always looking for is what is a cheap budget alternative to let people get into the RC crawling hobby and give it a shot without spending a bunch of money. This vehicle comes in at $120 plus or minus, sometimes running coupons. You can find it on Amazon. I'll provide a link down below. So for that price, which is half of a lot of those other vehicles that I mentioned, or even less, how does it do? I'm not expecting that it's going to be a great crawler, but how does it do? What can we do with it? So we're going to unbox it, look at it, and see what it does. Straight out of the box, look at that. It actually looks pretty cool. I mean, we've got the fun front grille here, Angry Eyes grille. We have lots of hard molded parts, from the mirrors to the wipers to the snorkel to the roof rack. I did notice, of course, as soon as I set it down, non-oil filled shocks. The tires are good looking on, I'm assuming these are not real beadlocks, I'm assuming those are glued on. Very hard tires, very hard tires. So this is definitely going to be something that could use an upgrade for sure. When we look at it, you know, decent, you know, pretty weak steering angle, honestly. If we look at it, has a nice faux diff cover here that helps to protect your steering linkage, though, so that's okay. Let's get this body off and see what's underneath it. So be careful as you take the body off. It is plugged in to the, I'm assuming this is an ESC and receiver all-in-one unit. I'm seeing lots of what appears to be hot glue holding wires in, not seeing a lot of waterproofing, so I'm guessing we are not waterproof. We are motor on axle, and so good and bad, keeps a lot of weight down low. Don't have to worry about drive shafts, so all that's actually kind of nice. Maybe helps with the performance there. But otherwise, not a lot to see under here, including not a battery. So I'm thinking we need to flip this thing over. Okay, on the underside here, it's honestly, it's not actually getting better. So you have to take a screw out in order to access the battery. Fortunately, it does have two tabs here. So maybe once you take the screw out, you don't actually need it. We do have inside some 18650 cells, adds up to 1200 milliamp hour. Comes with this dang plug, which I don't remember the name of it, but like nobody ever uses this, and so I don't have an ability to charge this with my fast, you know, hobby grade charger, which means I'm going to be stuck using the USB charger that it comes with, which means I need to get that started. Battery tray could probably use some reworking, but we literally have on-off, toy grade on-off power switch here. I'm also noticing that the controller has no centering or anything on it, and we have centering on the servo for the axle here, which is again not a great hobby suggestion. When I'm looking at this, if you listen closely, it's not proportional steering. It's all or nothing. It's just a switch connected to a circle. Unfortunately, the same thing on the trigger. We have full throttle, we have full reverse, there's no proportional there. So we're talking full non-proportional steering, non-proportional throttle. Well, so that's not exciting, if I'm honest. That's pretty disappointing. That really makes like technical crawling and everything hard. But we're still going to give it a shot. So I'm going to get this battery charged up, and we are going to get out there and see. Maybe it surprises me. Maybe it performs better than I think it will. While the battery's over there charging, I started looking at this body because really, I really kind of like the body. I mean, I know people that have spent more than $100 on a body and it looks worse than this. And this has lights, both the roof lights plus the headlights. It has all these hard plastic details on it, painted with the silver undertone underneath it. I mean, I'll be honest, this is almost really worth the $100 right here. You get this, you throw away that chassis that it comes with, and maybe you keep the battery and reuse it somehow, but you know, is it the right size? And so I'm looking over here, it's the right wheelbase for my TRX4. I start looking at it. Of course, the Gladiator's long wheelbase, so that won't work. But I start looking at wheelbase and width for my SCX10. It'll work. For the Ecto, it'll work. So maybe this is a way to get a body? Pretty cool looking body, but maybe not a crawler. I don't know. So still withholding judgment. Need to get this battery charged up and let's give it a shot. Look at that, those lights look good. Check out those front headlights. Check out that light bar up at top. Man, that's actually pretty nice all plugged in. Off the bat, this is something I'm not getting about this vehicle at all. All four wheels in the air, all four spit. But the back two on the ground, it's almost acting like it's front wheel drive. It has rear drive. It's trying to push, but it's weak. Hold the front down. It's motor on axle, but it's almost like it has a slipper in there or something. Like, I'm really tempted to take it apart and see. I find as I'm crawling, if it's bound up at all, it's acting almost front wheel drive, which is not super helpful. first run of the truck is done, and I gotta be honest, that was bad. Like this truck normally costs 120 something like that dollars, and that's bad for $120. I mean, I've had some pretty cheapo $60-70 like toy grade stuff that I've gotten from, you know, the Walmart's, Targets of the world. I got a Maisto there for a while that was cheaper than this, and honestly did better, had better performance straight out of the box, was just better overall, at least proportional steering and throttle, that kind of thing. Like this is bad. I mean, the fact that the real killer to it was the fact that it's not really all-time all-wheel drive. I'm about to blow open these diff cases, take these tires off, and give it a check to make sure I don't see anything that's wrong. But the fact that it couldn't pull through, it didn't have the torque, it didn't have the power to pull through a lot of that stuff that I put it at, really is quite the negative. Oddly enough, the front wheels are a Phillips screw, the rear wheels are a standard nut. Underneath them is a very unusually sized hex, which is super unfortunate because then that means can't just put on aftermarket hobby grade tires and wheels, so boo on that. But yet for some reason axle shaft sticks out of the back, so we have a nut on it, front does not. Why is that? I have no earthly idea. Inside that gearbox, inside that rear diff, we get both good and bad news. So good news, there is not a slipper, there's nothing like that that really explains why those rear tires weren't spinning. It literally looks like the motor, the ESC that it has, is just truly underpowered, and so it would stall out under that load. So the good part about that is mechanically nothing wrong, and potentially the other good thing about it is maybe if I stuck a different like hobby grade hobby wing ESC in here, I'd actually be able to overpower everything, and maybe it would actually have more torque and power. You know, if I did a full electronics upgrade on this thing, I could get it to where it would have a lot better power. It'd have throttle modulation, different controller. I'd have to really rig something up for steering, because I don't think the steering's set up for a standard servo at all. So good and bad. This is still, it's going to be really, really hard to recommend this. Final decision of the day then is what to do with this thing. You know, honestly, I'm not going to spend the time and effort in order to try to convert this into like a really good crawler. The whole hex being the wrong size really puts a nail in it. The whole servo steering thing and having to like fully recreate a whole steering setup for it, it's really a nail in the coffin. If it was a little bit easier, maybe I'd try it just for giggles, but I'm not going to. So what do we do with it? Honestly, it's a toy. It's what it's made to be, is just a cheap toy. So I'm going to find some kiddo that I can just drop this off at and just let them bash around and have fun. It's kind of decently fast, especially if we're trying to be a crawler. And so I'm going to just find someone to give it to. I thought about just stealing the body off of it and trashing the rest of it, but it's kind of a waste. Really, the body looks nice. I'd love to kind of put the body on something else. I think it's fun, but I'm just gonna let someone else have it and go forward with that. So WLTOYS 10th scale crawler, can't recommend it unless you want a really cheap body that looks pretty good and has lights already. So it's really worth 50-60 bucks for a body if you see it on sale anywhere. So anyway, I always appreciate your support, everything that you do for the channel. I really appreciate it. Also, please come over here while I'm working on some other stuff and check out other videos that I've already made, and we will see you in the next video. So thank you and goodbye.